And if you head down Highway 41, just over the Conecuh River Bridge, head toward Pensacola, Florida, there's a crossroads. That's what they call Riverview. There's a dirt road to the left. And when it comes to a T, instead of taking a left to go to the boat launching for the Conecuh River, you take a right. 3 houses down on the left is where my great uncle lived, and he was famous in those parts for building a fence around his house made out of whiskey bottles and Quick Creek cement. And this is a true story. It went around the entire property. It's about 6 feet high. And he was early recycler. Woo, man, you look good. And this is a story about my great uncle Ed Lee. I found out this story through his second wife. He didn't get along with his first wife because she kept making him pour his whiskey out. That's probably why he had so many bottles. He probably didn't ever get through a whole bottle, you know. He had 5 bottles. And his second wife, she died when I was about 2 years old. And I got to go meet his second wife when I was young, and she told me all kinds of stories. My favorite story was how they met, and what it was Ed Lee didn't like to wash clothes, but he had a kind of a job, part-time job at the Container Corporation factory, and well, it was actually T.R. Miller Mills where he had a job, and so what he'd do is he'd wear clothes until they started to smell, and then he'd go to Robbins and McGowan's and then he'd buy a new set of clothes, and he'd wear those until they smelled, and then he'd go buy some more, and then he accumulated a whole closet full of brand new dirty clothes. And his friends would come by and they started noticing this horrible smell in his house, and while he was gone one day, they hired this lady to come by and clean the house, and she cleaned everything and it still smelled, and she finally had to pick the lock on this one door she couldn't get into, and there she found a whole closet full of brand new dirty clothes, and she washed all those clothes and had them on the clothesline, and when he came home, he looked at those clothes and he looked at her, and he said, "Will you marry me?" And they stayed married the rest of his life, and that was another true story. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. The old Uncle Ed Lee was bad to drink. Couldn't hold a job, would just sit there and think. He had 2 daughters, they was both valedictorian. They graduated in May, they never come back home again. The Ed Lee and his wife, alone at the house. She held his whiskey above the sink, she poured it all out. The Ed Lee said, "Look here, woman, now my job here is done." Packed up his books, was out on the run, built himself a shack on the Conecuh River, a pretty little place built out of fallen timber. His wife baked him a cake. She said, "Daddy, please come home." He said, "There's nothing here but us chickens. We prefer to be alone." Woo, whoa, whoa. Oh, what kind of chicken is that? That sounds like a 16. He lived off them old Norwegian sardines, ordered classic literature from the magazine. He drank a whole bottle of whiskey, if not more, every day. So a pile of whiskey bottles began to grow in the shade. He bought himself a sack of that old Quick Creek cement, commenced to build himself a whiskey bottle fence. Evan Williams, woo! Jimmy, Jack Daniels, woo! You know what I mean? Nothing fancy like Wild Turkey. Most of stuff like 10 High, Heaven Hill, Rebel Yell, Silver Company. I saw one Sir Malcolm. We got to the bottom one day of a bottle of Old Crow. Up to heaven, heaven, here we go. The Ed Lee died. It's a sad, sad song. Somebody else lived there these days, who it is, we do know. This is a true story. You go there to today. The directions I gave you earlier will take you right to Miss Carol's house. Miss Carol, well, she will acknowledge that the fence has completely fallen down since all these hurricanes have happened over the years. But there's remnants of the fence strode out in between her house and the Connecticut River. This will take you out there, and if you're lucky, you find 4 or 5 bottles stuck together like some kind of modern art, because they were laid sideways like a poor man's stained glass, and the sun was shining through. And if you could find a chunk of it that looks like modern art, that you would have paid $975 for at Santa Rosa Beach. And if you're not so lucky, you might find 1 or 2 bottles still stuck together that you can take home as a paperweight. And that there would cost you $45 in St. Louis Beach. Oh, now we're going to head out and follow the Connecticut River. Where you been all my life? Traffic.